Jai-ho Kim stood in the cold morning air, watching his breath form small clouds. The Montana sunrise painted the sky in orange and pink. His small farm looked beautiful in this light, but Jai-ho could only think about his empty bank account. Another day, another worry, he said to himself, kicking at the frozen dirt. The farm had been his grandfather's pride. Now it was Jai-ho's burden. The crops barely grew, and the bills kept coming. Jai-ho was the last Kim to work this land, and he was failing. The sound of tires on gravel made him turn. A black car drove up the dirt road. Jai-ho didn't get many visitors, especially not in fancy cars. A tall woman in a business suit stepped out. "Mr. Kim, I'm Ms. Lee from Hanson Legal Services. I'm here about your grandfather's will." Jai-ho frowned. "My grandfather died 3 years ago. We settled everything then." Ms. Lee shook her head. "Not everything. There was a special part of the will that could only be opened after 3 years. Today is that day." Inside the small farmhouse, Ms. Lee placed a wooden box on the kitchen table. It was carved with strange symbols that reminded Jai-ho of the stories his grandfather used to tell, tales of stars and ancient guardians. "Your grandfather was very clear. This box and its contents now belong to you," Ms. Lee said. "I need your signature here." After signing the papers and watching Ms. Lee drive away, Jai-ho studied the box. The lock was old but opened easily. Inside, he found a letter and a large egg nestled in soft cloth. The letter was in his grandfather's shaky handwriting. Asterisk, dear Jai-ho, asterisk. Asterisk, if you are reading this, the time has come. The egg will hatch soon. The bird that comes from it is special. Its family has been with our family for generations. They are not ordinary birds. They are watchers, guardians. Keep it safe, and it will protect you when the sky visitors return. Asterisk. Asterisk, your grandfather. Asterisk. Asterisk, Jai-ho Kim. Asterisk. Jai-ho shook his head. His grandfather had always been strange, talking about visitors from the stars and ancient protectors. Jai-ho had loved him, but never believed those stories. 3 days later, the egg hatched. Jai-ho watched in wonder as a small white gosling pecked its way out. Its feathers were mostly white but flecked with strange silver marks that seemed to catch the light in unusual ways. "Well, little one," Jai-ho said, "I guess you're my responsibility now." He named the goose Bake for its white feathers. As days passed, Jai-ho noticed that Bake was not like other geese. The bird learned quickly and seemed to understand Jai-ho's words. It followed him everywhere, but never got in the way. One night, Jai-ho found his grandfather's old journals in the attic. As he read through them, his eyes grew wide. The journals told of a line of special geese going back hundreds of years, each one watching the skies, each one protecting the Kim family. "This is crazy," Jai-ho said to Buck, who sat watching him with 2 intelligent eyes. "My grandfather really believed you were some kind of alien bird guardian." Vake only stared back, unblinking. That night, Jai-ho woke suddenly. Vake was at the window, making this strange hissing sound. Jai-ho rubbed his eyes and joined the goose. In the night sky, strange lights moved in patterns no plane would make. "Just satellites," Jai-ho told himself. But deep inside, he remembered his grandfather's words. Asterisk, when the watchers in the sky return, Bak's family will know first. Asterisk. The lights blinked in sequence, then shot across the sky at impossible speeds. Beside him, Bake spread its wings. The silver flecks in its feathers seemed to glow in response to the lights above. For the first time, Jai-ho wondered if his grandfather's stories might be true after all. 3 months passed. Jai-ho got used to having Bak around the farm. The goose grew fast and followed Jai-ho everywhere. It chased away wild animals that came too close to the chicken coop. It even seemed to know when bad weather was coming before the sky showed any signs. "You're a smart one," Jai-ho often told Buck, who would look at him with knowing eyes. One cold Tuesday in November, Jai-ho was fixing his tractor when he noticed Buck acting strange. The goose stood very still, looking up at the sky. Its silver-flecked feathers seemed to shine brighter than usual. "What is it, Bake?" Jai-Ho asked, but the goose didn't move. That evening, the phone rang. Jai-Ho rarely got calls. "Hello," he answered. "Are you watching the news?" It was Mrs. Park, his nearest neighbor who lived 2 miles down the road. "No, why?" "Turn it on. Now." Jai-Ho switched on his old TV. Every channel showed the same thing. A large, dark ship hovering over New York City. It wasn't from Earth. The bottom of the screen read, "Breaking NEWs. Alien ship enters Earth's atmosphere." "They're real," Jai-Ho whispered, remembering his grandfather's journals. The sky visitors. The next day, smaller ships landed in major cities around the world. The aliens called themselves the Nagari. They looked like giant insects that walked on 2 legs. They had hard outer shells that shined blue and green. Their heads had large eyes and moving mouthparts. World leaders met with the Nagari. The aliens said they came in peace. They wanted to share their knowledge and technology. In return, they asked for some of Earth's resources. 3 days later, Jai-Ho was feeding the chickens when 5 black cars drove up to his farm. Men in suits got out, along with a young woman who didn't look like the others. "Mr. Kim," one man asked, "I'm Agent Davis from the United States government. We need to speak with you." Inside the house, Agent Davis explained, "The Nagari Queen, Selthera, is coming to Earth for diplomatic talks. We're setting up several meeting sites. Your farm has been chosen as one of them." "My farm? Why?" "The Nagari requested a rural location away from crowds. Your property fits their needs. We'll pay you, of course." Jai-Ho was shocked. "But I'm just a farmer. I don't know anything about aliens or diplomacy." "That's why we brought Ms. Ha-Yun Park." Agent Davis pointed to the young woman. "She's one of our best translators and has been working with the Nagari language." Ha-Yun bowed slightly. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Kim. I'll be staying here to prepare for the Queen's visit." Jai-Ho looked at her. She was about his age, with intelligent eyes and a serious face. "I still don't understand why they picked my farm." Agent Davis looked uncomfortable. "They scanned Earth from orbit. They said this location has special properties they're interested in." After the agents left to set up equipment outside, Ha-Yun stayed with Jai-Ho in the kitchen. "They're not telling you everything," she said quietly. "The Nagari specifically asked about this farm by its exact coordinates. They knew it was here before they even landed on Earth." Jai-Ho felt cold. "That's not possible." "There's something else," Ha-Yun continued. "The Nagari language has words for many Earth animals, but they ask most about birds, especially geese." Just then, Bake walked into the kitchen. The goose looked at Ha-Yun, then at Jai-Ho. It made a soft sound in its throat. Ha-Yun stared at the goose. "Are those silver flecks in its feathers?" "Yes," Jai-Ho said. "This is Buck. My grandfather left him to me." Ha-Yun's eyes widened. "Mr. Kim, I think your goose might be why the Queen is coming here." Outside the window, a small Nagari ship appeared in the sky, coming closer to the farm. The next few days were busy on Jai-Ho's farm. Government workers set up tents, security equipment, and communication devices. They built a landing pad for the Nagari ship in the East Field. Soldiers patrolled the edges of the property. Through it all, Bake stayed close to Ha-Yun. The goose followed her everywhere, watching everything she did. "Your goose seems to like me," Ha-Yun said as she worked at a computer in Jai-Ho's kitchen. "That's strange," Jai-Ho replied. "Buck doesn't usually like strangers." Ha-Yun smiled. "Maybe I'm special." That afternoon, the Nagari sent a team to check the farm. 3 tall, insect-like aliens stepped out of a small ship. They carried boxes with blinking lights and strange tools. Agent Davis led them around the property. Jai-Ho watched from the porch. Buck stood beside him, making low hissing sounds. "You don't like them, do you?" Jaiho asked the goose. When the aliens came near the house, Bak's hissing got louder. The goose spread its wings, and the silver flecks in its feathers caught the sunlight. One of the Nagari noticed the goose. It stopped and stared at Bake. Then it spoke in a clicking, buzzing language to its companions. They all turned to look at the goose. "Is something wrong?" Agent Davis asked the aliens. "No problem," one of them answered in a strange mechanical voice. "We continue inspection." That night, Hei-yun found Jiho in the barn. She looked worried. "Something's not right," she said quietly. "I've been translating their messages, and there are words that don't match what they tell us." "What do you mean?" Jiho asked. "They use one word when talking among themselves, and a different word when talking to us. Like they're hiding something." Jiho thought of his grandfather's warnings. "Can you tell what they're really saying?" Hei-yun shook her head. "Not completely, but they keep using a word that might mean weapon or defense when they look at your land." Just then, Bake ran into the barn. The goose was upset, flapping its wings and making loud honking sounds. "What's wrong with it?" Hei-yun asked. "I don't know." Jiho tried to calm the goose, but Bake kept pulling at his pants leg, trying to lead him somewhere. "I think it wants us to follow," Hei-yun said. They followed Bake outside. The goose led them behind the barn to where the Nagari had set up a small black box on the ground. The box had lights on it and made a soft humming sound. "This isn't one of ours," Hei-yun said, kneeling to look at it. "The Nagari must have left it here." Bake pecked at the ground around the box, then looked up at them with intelligent eyes. "How did your goose know this was here?" Hei-yun asked. Jiho thought about all the strange things he had seen Bake do. "I think Bake can sense their technology somehow." Over the next 2 days, Bake led them to 5 more hidden boxes around the farm. Each time, Hei-yun carefully moved the boxes to a shed without telling Agent Davis or the Nagari. "These devices are scanning the ground," Hei-yun said after studying them. "It's like they're looking for something under your farm." On the 3rd day, as they prepared for Queen Excelthera's arrival, Hei-yun made a discovery. "Jiho," she called from the kitchen. "I found something in their translation matrix. There's a hidden message in their greeting to Earth." Jiho looked at the computer screen. "What does it say?" "It's not complete, but it mentions ancient enemies and final victory." Hei-yun looked pale. "I don't think they came in peace." Outside, they heard the loud sound of a large ship approaching. Queen Excelthera was arriving. Bake ran to the window and spread its wings. The silver flecks in its feathers began to glow with a soft blue light. "Jiho," Hei-yun whispered, "I think your grandfather was right. Your goose is not just a goose." The Nagari Queen's ship was much larger than the others. It landed smoothly on the pad in the east field. The ship was dark blue with strange patterns that seemed to move when you looked at them. Agent Davis rushed everyone into position. "Remember, no sudden movements. Show respect at all times. This meeting is very important for Earth." Jiho and Hei-yun stood near the back of the welcoming group. Buck was locked in the barn, as Agent Davis had ordered no animals at the meeting. The ship's door opened slowly. First came 10 tall Nagari guards with shiny armor and weapons that glowed green. They formed 2 lines. Then Queen Excelthera stepped out. She was almost 8 feet tall. Her outer shell was bright blue with green and gold patterns. She had 4 arms instead of 2 like her guards. On her head was a crown-like growth that glowed softly. "Welcome to Earth, Your Majesty," Agent Davis said with a bow. A small device on the Queen's chest translated her clicking, buzzing speech. "I am pleased to visit your quaint planet. We have much to discuss." Queen Excelthera looked around the farm with her large, multifaceted eyes. When she spoke, her voice was cold but polite. "I wish to see inside your dwelling," she said, pointing at Jiho's farmhouse. Inside, the Queen seemed too big for the small rooms. Her guards stayed close to her. She touched things with her long, thin fingers, studying everything. "This is a typical human home?" she asked. "For a farm, yes," Agent Davis replied. The Queen made a sound that might have been a laugh. "How simple you all are." She turned suddenly to Jai-Ho. "This is your home, small human." Jai-Ho nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." "And you grow food in the dirt?" The Queen's voice had a mocking tone. "Yes, I'm a farmer." "How primitive," the Queen said. "On our world, we grow food in perfect conditions, controlled by our technology." He-Yun stepped forward. "Different isn't always primitive, Your Majesty. Our methods have value too." The Queen looked at He-Yun for a long moment. "You speak our language well, small human. I wonder what else you understand." The meeting moved to Jai-Ho's kitchen, where government officials had set up a table with papers to sign. These papers would allow the Nagari to build bases on Earth and begin sharing their technology. As the Queen prepared to sign, there was a loud crash from outside. Then they heard a strange honking sound getting closer. "What is that noise?" the Queen asked. Before anyone could answer, Bake burst through the door. The goose had somehow escaped from the barn. It ran straight into the kitchen, feathers puffed out, honking loudly. "Stop that animal!" Agent Davis shouted. Beck dodged the guards and jumped onto the table. Papers went flying. The goose stood in front of the Queen, spreading its wings wide. The silver flecks in its feathers were glowing bright blue. Queen Exelthera stared at the goose. Then she did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a strange sound, like metal scraping on metal. The laugh seemed to have an echo, as if two voices were laughing at once. "A common bird challenges me," she said, still laughing. "How amusing you Earth creatures are." But Jai-Ho noticed something odd. While the Queen laughed, Buck didn't move. The goose stood still, watching her. Its eyes seemed to track something invisible coming from the Queen's mouth as she laughed. He-Yun noticed it too. She leaned close to Jai-Ho and whispered, her laugh. "There's something hidden in it, like a signal." The Queen stopped laughing and pointed at Beck. "Remove this creature." Two guards moved toward Beck, but the goose jumped down and ran to Jai-Ho's side. "I apologize, Your Majesty," Agent Davis said. "This won't happen again." "No matter," the Queen said. "I find your simple pets amusing. Now let us continue our important work." But as the meeting went on, Jai-Ho watched the Queen carefully, and he kept Beck close to his side, wondering what the goose had sensed in the alien Queen's laugh. After the meeting, Queen Exelthera and most of her guards returned to their ship. Two guards stayed behind to help set up communication devices around the farm. Jai-Ho kept Beck with him at all times. The goose was calm now, but stayed alert, watching everything the aliens did. That night, He-Yun knocked softly on Jai-Ho's bedroom door. "We need to talk," she whispered, "but not here." They went to the barn, where no one could hear them. Beck followed close behind. "I recorded the Queen's laugh," He-Yun said, showing Jai-Ho her small recorder. "Listen to this." She played the recording. The Queen's strange metallic laugh filled the barn. Beck's feathers puffed up, and the silver flecks began to glow again. "Now listen when I slow it down," He-Yun said. At half speed, the laugh changed. Hidden in the sound were clicks and buzzes. Nagari language. "What does it say?" Jai-Ho asked. "It's a command," He-Yun said. "Something like, 'Begin the seeding now.'" "Seeding? What does that mean?" He-Yun shook her head. "I don't know." But right after she laughed, all the devices around your farm started sending signals to each other. Jai-Ho thought for a moment. "The boxes we found, they're part of this seeding." "Yes, and there's more." He-Yun pulled out a small computer. "I managed to tap into one of their communication channels. They're talking about something called Phase 1 that has already started." The screen showed strange symbols and diagrams. One image showed small dots spreading across a map of Earth. "These are too small to be bases," He-Yun said. "They look more like Tiny machines. Jai-Ho finished. They're putting tiny machines all over Earth. Bake suddenly perked up. The goose walked to the barn door and looked out at the night sky. More Nagari ships were arriving, but these were different, small and fast, barely visible as they streaked across the stars. Delivery ships, Hei-Yun whispered. They're not here for talking. They're here to spread these machines. Jai-Ho remembered his grandfather's words. Asterisk, they are watchers, guardians. Keep it safe, and it will protect you when the sky visitors return. Asterisk. The next morning, Agent Davis called an emergency meeting. His face was pale. We've lost contact with 3 major cities, he said. Something is interfering with our electronics. One of his assistants whispered in his ear. Agent Davis looked even more worried. Make that 12 cities, he corrected. And spreading. It's the Nagari, Hei-Yun said. Everyone turned to look at her. They're not here for peace. They're invading. That's a serious accusation, Agent Davis said. Hei-Yun showed them her recordings and the communication she had intercepted. The Queen's laugh was a signal to start dropping microscopic machines across Earth. They're taking over our technology. Agent Davis looked at the evidence. I need to report this to headquarters right away. But when he tried to use his phone, it was dead. All their devices were dead. They've cut us off, Hei-Yun said. Outside, they heard the Queen's ship powering up. Through the window, they saw Queen HFY boarding her vessel. She wasn't supposed to leave until the next day. She knows we've discovered her plan, Jai-Ho said. Just then, the Nagari guards who had stayed behind entered the house. They carried their glowing weapons. You will come with us, one of them said in its mechanical voice. Agent Davis stepped forward. We are representatives of Earth. We demand to speak with Queen HFY about these actions. The time for talking is over, the guard replied. The seating is complete. Soon your world will be ours. As the guards moved closer, Bake suddenly ran between them and Jai-Ho's group. The goose's feathers were now glowing so brightly they lit up the room. The guards stopped, seemingly confused by the light. What is happening? One guard asked. I think, Jai-Ho said slowly, my goose doesn't like your plan. The Nagari guards raised their weapons. The green glow at the end of each weapon grew brighter. Step aside, Earth creature, one guard said to Buck. But the goose didn't move. Instead, the silver flecks in its feathers grew even brighter until they were almost blinding. The guards fired their weapons. Green beams shot toward Buck, Jai-Ho, and the others. Then something amazing happened. The beams hit an invisible wall in front of Buck and bounced back. The guards jumped aside as their own shots nearly hit them. What is this? A guard demanded. Bake opened its beak and let out a sound like nothing Jai-Ho had ever heard before. It wasn't a honk or a hiss. It was a clear, pure note that made the air itself vibrate. The guards' weapons began to shake in their hands. Then they fell apart, piece by piece, dropping harmlessly to the floor. The guards looked at each other, then ran from the house. How did your goose do that? Agent Davis asked, his eyes wide. Jai-Ho shook his head. I don't know. But deep inside, he remembered all his grandfather's stories, all the strange notes in the journals, all the warnings about sky visitors and guardians. Buck turned to Jai-Ho. The goose looked different now. Its eyes seemed to glow with the same blue light as its feathers. Jai-Ho, Hei-Yun said softly. I think your grandfather was trying to tell you something important about Buck. Jai-Ho nodded. Let's get those journals. In the attic, Jai-Ho found all his grandfather's old journals. He pulled out the oldest one, its pages yellow with age. This goes back almost 100 years, he said as he opened it. It was my great-grandfather's first. The journal told an amazing story. Long ago, a race of aliens called the Sori visited Earth. They were peaceful and wise. They knew another alien race, the Nagari, would someday find Earth and try to take it over. The Sori couldn't stay to protect Earth, So they changed some Earth animals to be guardians. They picked animals that humans would care for and keep close. Geese were one of these animals. The Sori put something special in the geese. Jai-Ho read from the journal. Something that would grow and become strong over many generations. So Blake isn't just a goose, Hei-Yun said. He's a weapon against the Nagari. Not a weapon, Jai-Ho corrected. A guardian. A protector. As if it understood, Bake walked to Jai-Ho's side and gently pecked at his leg. Then the goose walked to the kitchen floor and pecked at a certain spot. What is it doing? Agent Davis asked. I think it wants us to look there, Hei-Yun said. Jai-Ho moved the kitchen table aside. Under the rug was an old trapdoor that Jai-Ho had never noticed before. That's impossible, Jai-Ho said. I've lived here all my life. But the trapdoor was real. Jai-Ho opened it and found stairs leading down into darkness. Blake walked down the stairs without fear. The glow from its feathers lit the way. Jai-Ho, Hei-Yun, and Agent Davis followed. At the bottom of the stairs was a large room filled with strange machines. They didn't look like anything from Earth. The walls were covered with symbols like those on Jai-Ho's wooden box. Sori technology, Hei-Yun whispered. It's been here all along. In the center of the room was a round platform. Blake walked onto it and sat down. The platform began to glow with the same blue light as Bach's feathers. All around the room, machines came to life. Lights turned on. Screens appeared in the air, showing maps of Earth with little blue dots all over them. What are those dots? Agent Davis asked. I think they're other guardians, Hei-Yun said. Other animals like Bach. My grandfather's journal mentioned more guardians, Jai-Ho said. The Sori changed many different animals. Bach's eyes were now glowing so bright, they were like blue stars. The goose looked at Jai-Ho and made a soft sound. I think, Jai-Ho said slowly, Bach is asking for our help. Help to do what? Agent Davis asked. To save Earth from the Nagari, Hei-Yun answered. To activate the Sori defense system. Above them, they heard the sound of many ships landing. The Nagari were coming back in force. The ground shook as more Nagari ships landed outside. Jai-Ho, Hei-Yun, and Agent Davis stood in the hidden Sori room, watching the screens that floated in the air. They're surrounding the farm, Agent Davis said. At least 30 ships. Bake sat calmly on the glowing platform. The goose seemed to know exactly what to do. It looked at one of the screens and made a soft sound. The screen changed to show strange symbols. I think those are instructions, Hei-Yun said, studying the symbols. But I can't read them. Jai-Ho looked through his grandfather's journal again. There's a section here about communicating with the Guardians. The journal said the Guardians couldn't speak human languages, but they could understand them. And they could share thoughts and images with humans who were bonded to them. Bonded? Hei-Yun asked. The Sori Guardians bond with one human family, Jai-Ho read. They protect that family, and that family protects them. My family has been taking care of Bach's ancestors for generations. Jai-Ho walked to the platform and gently placed his hand on Bach's head. The goose's eyes met his. Suddenly, Jai-Ho's mind was filled with images and feelings that weren't his own. I can see what we need to do, Jai-Ho said, his voice filled with wonder. Bach is showing me. He moved to a panel on the wall and pressed certain symbols in a specific order. More screens appeared, showing different places around the world. Each screen showed an animal with silver-flecked features glowing blue, a dog in Japan, a cat in Egypt, a hawk in Brazil, a turtle in Australia. The other guardians, Hei-Yun whispered. Yes, Jai-Ho said. Bach is connecting with them. The Sori left guardians all over Earth. Above them, they heard sounds of fighting. The soldiers who had been guarding the farm were defending it against the Nagari. We need to hurry, Agent Davis said. Jai-Ho pressed more symbols on the panel. One large screen showed a map of Earth covered in tiny red dots, the Nagari's microscopic machines. Those are the things they spread during the seeding, Hei-yun said. They're everywhere. Watch, Jai-ho said. Bake made another pure, clear sound. On the screen, blue waves began to spread out from each guardian location. When the blue waves touched the red dots, the dots disappeared. The guardians are neutralizing the Nagari technology, Jai-ho explained. Each guardian sends out a signal that turns off their machines. But there are too many red dots, Agent Davis pointed out. The blue waves aren't spreading fast enough. Jai-ho looked at Bike. What do we do? In his mind, Jai-ho saw an image of the platform Bake was sitting on. There were supposed to be 3 more guardians on it, one to the north, one to the south, and one to the east of Bike. We need help from other guardians, Jai-ho said. But they're not here. Hei-yun's eyes lit up. The journals mention more than one guardian in your family, right? Jai-ho flipped through the pages. Yes, my grandfather wrote about keeping 4 birds, a goose, a duck, a chicken, and a pigeon. Where are the others? Agent Davis asked. I only have chickens now, Jai-ho said. But maybe. He ran upstairs and out to the chicken coop. There, among the regular chickens, was one with silver flecks in its feathers. It had been there all along, but Jai-ho had never noticed before. Jai-ho carefully picked up the chicken and hurried back to the underground room. When he placed the chicken on the platform to the north of Bake, its feathers began to glow blue too. The screen showed the blue waves spreading faster now, covering more red dots. It's working, Hei-yun said. But we still need 2 more guardians. The ceiling shook hard. Dust fell around them. They're breaking into the house, Agent Davis said. We're running out of time. Jai-ho looked at Buck. Where can we find the other guardians? Bake looked at Hei-yun and made a soft sound. Me? Hei-yun asked. But I'm not a guardian. Bake kept looking at her. Then, slowly, Hei-yun reached into her pocket and pulled out something small and round. My grandmother gave me this, she said. She said it would protect me. It was a small egg with silver flecks on its shell. An egg? Jai-ho stared at the small, silver-flecked object in Hei-yun's hand. How long have you had it? All my life, Hei-yun said. My grandmother said it was a family treasure. She told me to keep it with me always. The egg began to glow with the same blue light as Bak's feathers. Your family must be connected to the guardians too, Jai-ho said. Place it on the platform. Hei-yun carefully set the egg on the eastern position of the platform. The moment she did, the egg cracked open. Inside was not a baby bird, but a small crystal that shone with bright blue light. A Sori crystal, Jai-ho said, somehow knowing its name from his connection with Buck. Even more powerful than a guardian. The blue waves on the screen spread much faster now. Around the world, the red dots of Nagari technology were disappearing quickly. We still need 1 more, Agent Davis said, pointing to the empty southern spot on the platform. A loud crash came from above. The Nagari were inside the house. We don't have time to find another guardian, Hei-yun said. Jai-ho looked at Buck. The goose met his eyes, and Jai-ho felt a new thought form in his mind. There is 1 more guardian here, Jai-ho said slowly. Me. You? Agent Davis asked. How? My family has cared for guardians for generations, Jai-ho explained. Buck says the Sori left something in us too, in our blood. Jai-ho stepped onto the southern position of the platform. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, a blue glow began to spread from his feet up through his body. It's working, Hei-yun said. On the screens, the blue waves now covered almost all of Earth. The red dots were almost gone. Suddenly, the door to the underground room burst open. Queen Exelthera herself stood there, her 4 arms holding advanced weapons. Behind her were 6 of her guards. So this is where the interference comes from, the queen hissed. Her voice was no longer polite or calm. It was full of anger. A Sori defense nest. I should have known. She looked at Bake, the chicken, the crystal, and Jeho, all glowing on the platform. "How pathetic," she said. "A few farm animals and primitive humans trying to stop the mighty Nagari Empire." She aimed her weapon at the platform. "Your ancestors, the Sori, are gone, defeated by us long ago. These remnants of their technology cannot save you. If we're so weak, why are your machines failing?" Heian asked, pointing to the screens. The queen looked at the screens and saw her red dots disappearing. Her eyes flashed with rage. "A temporary setback," she said. "We will build more, better ones. And next time, we will know to destroy all guardians first." "There won't be a next time," Jeho said. "Buck showed me what happens when the defense system is fully activated." The queen fired her weapon at Jeho. The beam hit an invisible shield around the platform and bounced away. "You cannot stop us from here," the queen shouted. "Our main ships are already attacking your cities. We don't need to stop you from here," Jeho said calmly. "The guardians are awakening all over Earth." The queen fired again and again, but her weapons couldn't break through the shield. Her rage grew with each failed shot. "Your ridiculous animals can't defeat us," she screamed. "We conquered 1,000 worlds. We destroyed the Sori themselves." Bake stood tall on the platform, watching the queen with calm eyes. The goose didn't flinch or make a sound as the queen raged. "The alien queen laughed at my goose," Jeho said. "But my goose didn't laugh back. Because Bak knew what you really are, a bully who uses fear and tricks to get your way." The queen's eyes blazed. "I will destroy this farm and everything on it." She pressed a button on her arm. The room shook as something big landed outside. "My personal battle walker has arrived," the queen said. "It will crush this place to dust." Agent Davis pulled out his phone. "The signal is back. I can call for help." "There's no time," Heian said. "Whatever that battle walker is, it sounds dangerous." Jeho looked at Buck. "What do we do now?" Bak's eyes glowed brighter than ever. The goose opened its beak and let out another pure, clear note. All the screens in the room changed to show one image, a massive wave of blue light rising from Earth itself. The entire room shook as the Queen's battle walker stomped around above them. It sounded like a giant metal monster crushing everything in its path. "We need to get out of here," Agent Davis said. "The whole place might collapse." But Jeho, Heian, Buck, and the chicken stayed on the platform, all glowing with blue light. The crystal between them pulsed brighter and brighter. Outside, across the world, something amazing was happening. The blue wave that Buck had started was spreading to every human on Earth. As it touched them, people felt something change inside their minds. They suddenly understood the Nagari technology. They knew how it worked and how to stop it. Scientists who had been trying to understand the alien machines now saw the answers clearly. Military leaders knew exactly where to target the Nagari ships. Regular people found they could turn off any Nagari device simply by touching it in the right way. Queen Excelthera saw it happening on the screens. Her face showed shock and fear. "This is impossible," she said. "The Sori defense system was only meant to destroy our machines, not to help humans learn." Heian finished for her. "Is that what scares you?" The queen backed away from the platform. "This changes nothing. My battle walker will crush this control center, and the effect will fade." A loud crash came from above as the battle walker smashed through the farmhouse floors, trying to reach the underground room. "The ceiling won't hold much longer," Agent Davis warned. Jeho looked at Buck. "Is there anything else we can do?" Through their connection, Jeho saw one more step, one final part of the Sori plan. He reached out and placed his hand on a crystal between them. "Everyone, touch the crystal," he said. Heian and Agent Davis placed their hands on the crystal too. The blue light grew so bright it filled the whole room. On the screens, they saw the Nagari ships all over Earth suddenly stop moving. Their engines shut down. Some fell from the sky, landing in empty fields or oceans, harming no one. "What have you done?" the queen cried. "The Sori left more than just guardians," Jaiho explained. "They left a way for humans to protect themselves." Outside, the battle walker suddenly went quiet. Its legs no longer moved. The queen pressed buttons on her arm controls, but nothing happened. "My walker isn't responding." "What is this?" "Knowledge," Heiyun said. "The Sori gave us knowledge to understand your technology." The queen's guards looked at each other, then dropped their useless weapons and ran from the room. "Cowards," the queen shouted after them. The screen showed Nagari all over Earth surrendering as their technology failed them. "You've lost, Queen Excelthera," Agent Davis said. "Your invasion is over." The queen stood tall, her pride still strong. "You think this is the end? The Nagari Empire has hundreds of ships, thousands of warriors. We will return." "And we'll be ready," Jaiho said. "Earth knows about you now. We know how your technology works. We know how to stop it." The blue light slowly faded from Jaiho, Blake, the chicken, and the crystal. The platform stopped glowing. The work was done. Above them, they heard helicopters landing. Human military forces had arrived. "You should surrender," Heiyun told the queen. "It would be safer for you." The queen looked at Bake one last time. A simple farm bird. Who would have thought it would ruin our perfect plan? She laughed bitterly, then dropped her weapons. "I surrender." Later, as soldiers took the queen away, Jaiho sat on his porch with Bug beside him. The farm was damaged, but it could be fixed. Heiyun joined him, holding the crystal in her hand. "What happens now?" "Now we rebuild," Jaiho said. "And we prepare." The queen was right about one thing. There are more Nagari out there. "But there are more guardians too," Heiyun said, looking at Bake. "And now humans know the truth." Bake looked up at the sky, then back at Jaiho. Through their connection, Jaiho felt something new, not warning or fear, but hope. "My grandfather used to say that the stars hold both friends and enemies," Jaiho said. "Thanks to Bake, we're ready for both." Bake made a soft, contented sound and settled next to Jaiho's feet. To anyone passing by, it would look like just a farmer and his goose. But now, the whole world knew better. The queen had laughed at a simple goose. But the goose had the last word. ****, the end ****.